Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be looking at the new format that was created by MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! He has kind of built his own custom format, coming in the recent days, so I thought I'd take a look, as someone who enjoys alt formats a lot. I've built this channel on Common Charity and NR format, so I thought I might as well take a look. The gimmick of the format that he has created is around set rotation. It's supposed to be an experiment around whether set rotation would work at all. The decks, he has made 8 decks total available. I do have some issues with how it's structured. I think you need to have the ability to build decks outside of the box, and I think there might be some of that possible, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of that possible within 2 weeks of deck building. Uh, because then in the next 2 weeks, there will be a new set coming and more stuff that we can use to build. But for now, I would just like to take a look at my personal favorite deck from this time, and that is Subterror. Now, Subterror is super interesting because it has the ability to kind of set up a loop that is pretty hard to out. The back row in this format is good, but things like Lost Wind or Fiendish Chain, which most people are on, kind of get countered by Final Battle or like the ability to like flip the card down and then flip it back up. You can kind of ignore a lot of back row that way. So I believe that Subterror should be well positioned for a tournament. Let's just, I suppose, do a card by card. Triple Prime Mineral Congrate. This is not only a hand trap, essentially, when your opponent sends a card from hand or deck to grave. This is done in pretty much all the top decks, Salad, Onomat. You summon this in face down defense position, and then when it's flipped up, you can pop 2. It's This card is good. This card is like decent, just straight up. But if you have a card that get cards that can like flip it up again on your opponent's turn and then pop tooth something, say like a I believe Fiendus can do this. uh no, Fiendus is the other way around. I'm pretty sure there's a way to flip this on your opponent's turn. I don't know what it is, but you are able to pop 2, and even if you're not, you're able to flip it down regularly, flip it up, and just pop multiple cards on your opponent's turn. Very important card to the deck, and I think it's good enough to be played in the main deck. Next, onto the sub tears, we are looking at 3 copies of Umastrix. This is the only behemoth worth playing. Because we don't have access to Guru, we do have to dip into the behemoths. And I think Umastrix is probably the best out of the behemoths. We also have access to the level 11 one, which makes an opponent's attack point 0 unplayable, and then the other one, which makes sub tears indestructible by battle or card effects, also quite bad. So Umastrix being a banish is important, and you can also do this on your opponent's turn with a card like Final Battle. Important card to the deck, sets up disruption, and even if you're not using it as disruption, it's still just a banish every turn, which is pretty good, especially in a deck that dodges interruption like we do. Triple Nemesis Warrior. I think Nemesis Warrior is stupid important to the deck. Just having, we don't have Defender or Guru, so it's important that we play just max out on all the normal summons, which are literally just Archer and Warrior. Warrior, if you control another monster. So the only time you're ever actually using Warrior's on-field effect is when you have Archer on the field. You can, if you want to, bin Umastrix, tribute it and Archer, summon Umastrix in face down defense position. Yes, face down defense position, which is all right occasionally, but what you really want to be doing is just, hey, it's a guy that you can flip down with Fiendus, and it gives you the Omni Negate, which is important. And then in the graveyard, if a monster is flipped down, you can special summon it, which is all right, but again, not a huge priority. Triple Nemesis Archer, I think this is the better one. When it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can summon any Subterror from deck. So essentially, you can just ram this into something, summon a Subterror from deck, or usually Umastrix, occasionally Nemesis Warrior, and then hit over something that's too big, or you can just summon it. I believe you can summon it in face down defense position, and then go like main 2, Hidden City, flip it up to banish a card that you couldn't out previously. very important to the deck, and just having a recruiter is usually good enough in a format this slow. Triple Fiendus, I think Fiendus is quite good. Fiendus is pretty much the core conceit of the archetype. Actually, it's not just quite good. It's an Omni Negate hand trap. You can discard this, flip a Subterror you control face down, then negate anything. It doesn't destroy, which I would prefer, but it is what it is. Double Crow. I think you should be playing as many hand traps as you can this format. We have the Meisters and the Crow in the extra. We're playing Prime Mineral Congrate, which I value above Crow, but if not, I would be playing a Crow and two more Meisters and siding this. That's what I used to do, but I prefer. Look, I've played some testing, and I think Congrate is good enough to go in the main, especially in Subterror, which can manipulate its being flipped up and flipped face down a lot better than most decks can. So we're only on 2 Crow, but it still hits like everything in the format. It hits Salad, it hits Onomat, hits Hero, hits Dark Magician, hits Blue Eyes, hits almost everything. Same thing with Effect Veiler. I think Veiler hits pretty much every deck in the format. It's also a tuner, so occasionally it'll give us access to a Mega, which is very funny. Triple Reborn, they've decided that Reborn is allowed to be at 3 in this format, which means we are occasionally just going to be able to Reborn Umastrix to push for lethal. I don't see this being played. I don't see this not being played. This is going to get played in every single deck, other than like Shino Bird, which is never, your cards are never in the grave. And do you play this in normal Pendulum? Probably, because you're making a Seize monsters in that deck and Synchro monsters, which make you go to the or you're making Seize monsters, which make you go to the graveyard. So yeah, I see Monster Reborn at 3 in pretty much every deck. Double Book. Book is okay usually, but it's better in this deck because you can flip a card back like face down and then flip it up again. Strong, but not like too strong. Triple Hidden City searches any Subterror, and then you can do the flip up and down gimmick, which is very important. I think we are also on Triple Heavy Storm Duster. Duster allows you to, resuming that here, unfortunately I had to pause for a little bit, but Heavy Storm Duster is pretty much mandatory in this format. Salad, pretty much every single deck plays like a ton of back row, so Heavy Storm Duster is just absolutely necessary. Triple Succession and Triple Final Battle. Final Battle has 4 effects, which is insane. You can do both sides of the flip down, flip up mechanic. This includes flipping up Umastrix on your opponent's turn to banish. And then it also has attack modulation, so essentially can make Umastrix a 4600 beater, either Archer or Warrior a 3K beater, and I guess it makes Fiendus 12 or 1300 attack if you need to for some reason. Yeah, no. And then it also, Subterror cards can't be activated. You get to pick one of those effects, and then also all the Subterror traps set themselves after being activated, like, Scrap Iron Scarecrow. So it essentially, you can just, every single turn, you get to like do the flip up mechanic or like have a bunch of attack points. Super, super strong. Then Succession does the same thing where it sets itself face down after activating instead of being sent to the graveyard. And then it searches, you can send a non-flip monster from hand to grave, and then search a flip monster with the same attribute. So you can send any of the Subterrors to get Umastrix, or you can send Umastrix to get any of the Subterrors. Both very strong. Then playing Lose One Turn, Floodgate. Essentially, you're just when it hits Salad and Onomat decently hard, so we're playing it, and we don't really care about it at all. So, I say it's good enough. Some people say it's not good enough, and that's fine, but I prefer playing it at 3. Eshrak matters not that much, so I guess talking about the sideboard, let's revisit the extra deck here just for a little bit. Pretty much none of this matters. We're not really making any of these. Even the Subterror Link monster is really hard to make. It's not even good, really. I mean, you pretty much always have access to a Umastrix either through Nemesis Warrior, Hidden City, Succession. So searching the Umastrix isn't even that good. It's, none of these cards are going to see a ton of play. You're not going to summon them a lot. Like, I have Omega in here because it's Veiler plus Umastrix. Onto the sideboard, it's kind of messy, but it's, it's not, it's okay. It's only okay, I will admit this. Iris Swordsoul comes in against the decks that are really in on negation, something like things like Lost Wind, things like, Yes, things like Lost Wind, things like Veiler, things like Fiendish Chain. If they're like on like super hard, even like Breakthrough skill, we'll play Iris Sword Soul, but usually we're not saddening it in. Three Skullmeister for decks that for decks that Kong rate doesn't hit very hard. One Crow for decks that book doesn't do anything against. Double MST for backrow decks, triple Cave Clash for deck for like this isn't even for necessarily like specific decks. If people are just really like hitting into like the monsters despite like final battle existing, like players that are not maybe understanding of what these cards do, I will play Cave Clash just to search a free sub tear. The card's not very good, but it sometimes comes in. And then Triple Judgment for decks that play huge power cards like Blue Eyes. That's the format. Rotation. This is Subterror. I believe Subterror is a real and strong deck, although I believe that pretty much nothing can compete with Salamangreat. The deck is completely broken, and the back row is way too good and it really like encourages decks like Salamangreat to go super hard in on it. But otherwise, I'll see you next time, and have a good day.